Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renoff each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda and I'm back here with Beth, and we're going to talk today about being caught in between. And we're just feeling that darkness, that cocoon. And we've talked a little bit before about being in the spiritual awakening, really feeling that feeling. And I think, what maybe we have missed is really just talking about that, maybe that moment, like right before your feet are about to land, right? Like, and that kind of like that, just that feeling of you can't go back, right? Because the door is closed behind you. You can't go back to who you were, but you are not quite who you are about to be. And I feel like that's where we're both kind of finding ourselves, and we're right about to be there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So checking in on you. How are you doing? How are you feeling today? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's come up, and like, I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast, but like, there's so much frustration. I feel like our podcasts are like sessions with clients where I'm like, I channeled and I don't remember like what I said. So if we talked about this, forgive me, but there's so much frustration because I think there is so much testing going on. It's like right before you get to that next level, they're like, okay, we need to make sure that like you're ready. We need to show you your growth, your progress. So we're going to throw all the things you've outgrown in your way and see how you pick them up. So I'm having a lot of testing. I'm having a lot of testing with eating badly, I've been so good. I've been exercising, have changed my lifestyle with like food. I was really like doing something with this like every single day, like meditating, channeling, doing my newsletter, and I've like picked up like a lot of that. I've continued most of it, but the last 2 weeks I feel like, okay, my toe got infected. Who gets a toe infection, right? So
Your poor toe. We were talking about this last week. I think both of us had a really bad day. I think, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think Tuesday. We were both having a really bad day last week, and both of us feeling so frustrated. And I kind of had this thought too. And for two people who do a lot of rituals, a lot of really, intentional, mindful stuff, there's this theme on the internet. I forget what they're called, but like on TikTok, where it's like, you probably needed a hug, but I did X, Y, and Z. And I keep thinking of like, probably needed a ritual, but instead I screamed. And like, this is what I keep thinking of, like, and I kept saying to you, like, you probably just need to scream. Like, it doesn't always have to be you found a piece of rosemary and a blue candle and you went upside down and spun 3 times. And like, it doesn't, like, sometimes it's so beautiful to do these like wonderfully channeled things. And like, we love that, both of us. But sometimes you just need to scream into a pillow and like hit something. Not a person. No. Like, sometimes you want to, but like, sometimes it feels really good to just scream or have a release that's crying or like yelling, you know what I mean? Or like move your body.
That's really primal, and of this earth, right? Because our bodies are of this earth. And one thing, if you are feeling really frustrated, is you take a pillow and you bring it up like really high, and then you slam it down on the ground. That is like the best way to get out anger, frustration. It's such a good release. And I think that's release, that's different than like a ritual, like, because a ritual is not going to move energy in your body. It could just move energy outside of you. That's kind of how I see rituals, is like, that's the outer cosmic universe. But like the like primal things are moving like the energy in your body, right?
Mhm.
So it's like a coping mechanism. It's really what it is,
Yeah.
and we need them. Like we are on earth as much as we feel like
Yeah.
we're cosmic, we're connected to the other realms. Like we are in between because we have one foot here really planted and we have one foot out there really planted, but you got to do both. So I
Yeah.
think it's just like balancing. And that came up so much last week was I kept hearing balance, harmony, like flexibility, fluidity. Like you need to be flexible, that you're not in one or the other, you're in both. So you need the balance of both.
100%. And I think as well, like another thing that has really been coming up, and I've been thinking a lot about it because, you know, one of the most, I think for me, strugglesome in between phases was when I was pregnant. And I was thinking about this because a girlfriend of mine who was pregnant came to me and we had this conversation last week where she was saying to me, I had made a post about being in between, and she was saying to me, oh my God, I resonate so much with that. I feel so stagnant right now. I feel like I want to be doing something. And I said to her, I felt that way when I was pregnant so much. I felt like I wanted to be creating something. I could not create. I could not figure out what I was doing. And I kept having this moment. And you and I spoke about it all the time where
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, I didn't know where I was going. I knew something was coming, but I was also at the same time creating something so big. And that is the feeling that so many people are feeling right now. It doesn't have to be with being pregnant, but if you are in the process of creating something, like a new business, like your purpose, right? You say you're bringing something new to life. You are changing directions. You are moving towards something. You are bringing something new. You are creating something new. You feel like you're in the dark because you don't know what that next step is. So you feel like something has closed behind you, right? You can't go back to where you were and you are not sure exactly yet where you are going. And that is the trust fall, right? It's
Right.
moving towards this new thing and you're not exactly sure what it is. And that is like this beauty in creation. That darkness is where the depression and the stagnancy is, right? Like that's where you feel so
Mm-hmm.
sad and low and you feel so depressed. But that is where the beauty and the creation is. And that's the in between part. But
Right.
that is where all of it's happening, is in the in
Right.
between. You just can't see it because that's its darkness,
Right.
right? But
Well,
that's
it's
where it's happening.
and I think we confuse darkness sometimes with depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think, like, when you want change now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
patience is the biggest lesson in all of this. Like, when you're in between, patience is going to be the action you need to take, and really what's dark and what you're not seeing is the work behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same in therapy, like my clients are so frustrated because they don't necessarily see the change that they're making, but all of a sudden one day they react completely differently. And this is the same thing with here, is like you're in the in between where you're not seeing the process in front of you. You are not seeing the physical, like your manifestations in physicality, right? So you are not seeing the universe doing its thing. You're not seeing like your energy balancing out. Like you're not seeing the magnetism like attract to each other. So it is really frustrating. And I think we don't like to feel uncomfortable. So
No, we hate it.
so it often goes into depression because you're like, wait, what am I doing wrong? But you're really just not having patience.
Right, right. And so just to be your mirror, because we have been on this journey together,
Yes.
a lot of the frustration that both of us feel, because hand in hand we are on this journey together of changing careers and moving into what is our life purpose, our mission. What we are doing is coming out of careers and moving into doing work that is our soul work.
Right.
And
Right.
we are both people who are creative people. We are both people
Mm-hmm.
who want things immediately. We are
Yes.
both people who come from the East Coast, which I always say too. Like we are people like want things fast. Like where is the thing? Where
Yes.
is it immediately? So
Yeah.
Beth and I are people that like create something and then we're like immediately like where is it? Like where is all the stuff? Where
Yeah.
are all the people? Why are they not lining up at the door, knocking on the door?
Right.
Look at where you were a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year
Right.
ago. Beth. Like, and so both of us having the conversation we had last Tuesday, which is like, we are so sad in darkness. We are like, why is like,
Right.
why is this not like, why is our podcast not number one in like the universe? Like, hello, what is going on? Meanwhile, thank you all for listening, because we have gotten the best feedback ever. And we love everyone who's listening. Is you guys are all loving it. And it's bringing so much joy to both of us and to the people listening who are really resonating with it. Right. And I had this conversation with my husband today where I said to him, I realized that I just reorganized all of my offerings. I just launched some new things, and I realized that the past 2 years I have spent honing the offer that I finally just launched a couple of days ago. I have spent testing. I have spent figuring out what it is that I've been doing. I have spent getting feedback. I have spent figuring it out. This whole time, I felt like I was doing nothing. If you look back a year ago, if I look back a year ago, if I look back 2 years ago, like all of this, Beth, like you are not where you were a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is progress. We just don't see it in the day to day, and we don't see it in the second to second. And that makes people like us crazy because we want to see it immediately.
Totally. And I said, I've never worked harder at everything going on in my life. So I'm expecting like immediate results. Like I need to be 50 pounds lighter today.
Yes. Yes. But it is frustrating. It is frustrating.
Yeah.
1000%.
But I think the frustration is a purpose, because I think it's built up energy that you didn't move on your own. You're not paying attention to it. So for me, like what I said to you, I'm like, I'm just in a funky mood and I needed to have that like outlet to be like Debbie Downer for a second. And then I like started coming back with my jokes. Like if I could joke around about it, you know, like that moved the energy. I'm like, I need to be in that mood. I need to be a victim for like 1 minute.
Yes.
And then I'm going to move that crap out.
Yes.
You know?
And be hilarious about it, by the way, because I just want to say, like, the thing that I love about our relationship and also about both of us is that, like, we are so not the people either that are like, oh, like Zen princess goddess, star goddess, like just go outside then and like sit upon a tree and like, no, like we're like, fuck this. I hate everyone. Like then like screw this. Like, why am I doing rituals and it's not work? Like then I'm done. Like I hate like it doesn't have to be like, we can then make a joke about it and we can make it funny. And it doesn't have to be like, so then like, you know, I don't know, it just doesn't have to be so like, I don't know.
Humor is such a healing method. You know, it's like, I was joking around. I'm like, I'm just going to give up, go on a fast food crawl and have a train lift me when I need to go anywhere.
Yes.
You know, like I'll just be fat and happy. And like, but that like made me be like, okay, like you don't really want that, but it's like a joking way. It's funny, like visualizing it. And it's just like, sometimes you have to add the humor. And I remember like, even with because I was like, I feel like I'm not like other therapists where I'm really like a blank page. Like you're not going to know anything about me. I'm going to bring my personality into it. And one of the things is I used to do stand up. I love comedy. Comedy, I think, changes the world. And I'm like, I remember being like, one line I had in my bio was, I love to bring humor into the session because I think it's a really great coping mechanism. And I love that part of the therapeutic process. I can't tell you how many people I got because of that one line.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I feel like
so key.
Right. And same with this like spiritual journey. You got to find the humor. You got to have the comedy. You have to laugh. I think it is literally, there's a reason it's called laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
You have to laugh through these things because it can be so easy to go into a black hole.
Yes. And literally and like, look at Joshun. Like this is, we're talking like Council of Light members and like, even like Bashar, you know, like Daryl, and like, there is like the spirit guides that people channel through. Like there is levity, there is sarcasm, like there is humor there. And it's so important. And there is productivity, even though we don't see it. Like it's happening behind the scenes. And it's just, it is so frustrating in the moment. And I think that, it's okay to feel that. And
Yes.
I do think it is important, to your point, because that frustration, like, it fuels us sometimes. Like,
Mhm.
I really needed it too, because it did fuel, my mom is probably listening to this, and she's been taking all of the credit because we got into an argument, and then she
Mhm.
gave me tough love, and then she says that I only respond to tough love, and now she has been like, look at you go, you're doing great, and it's because I gave you tough love. And I'm like, this bitch, I can't even now, taking credit for all of it. And I'm like, okay. But what really helped me, and I feel like this is also really, really important, a depression is so fascinating because for a creator, I feel like when you're not creating, depression is
Mhm.
often a sign of like a creator not creating, right? So it's
Yes.
like often like it is that darkness of like you're not moving that energy through in a creative way. And
Mhm.
so this because we talked about it briefly last week, but like when I started channeling the energy through and doing it through, like channeling it through and starting to write again, starting to like allow it to come through in that dictation, like I'm starting to work on a book, that also shifted my energy in a different way.
Mhm.
And then I did a session with Joshun where by myself, where I was asking about my purpose.
Mhm.
And that refocused me a little bit. And that really shifted my energy because it gave me a little bit of like a check-in of like, okay, what am I like doing here? Like, what is my focus of like, what is my mission? And so it was kind of like a little bit of a mix of like, okay, getting the creative energy out, but also like just refocusing of like, why am I here? And like, what is my purpose and my point in all of this on this planet?
Right.
Like, what am I
Right.
doing here this time? Because I think I was feeling a little lost.
Yeah, you always have to go back to your why, right?
Yeah.
And I think also like especially for creative, and I think everybody's creative.
Hmm.
I posted something this week where we think creative is being like artsy. It really
Yeah.
isn't. It's just
It's
bringing
not.
something, an idea into existence that was not obvious. And I love that because I was like, oh my God, like so many people probably like don't think they're creative, and they are creative people, and they're suppressing that because of
Hmm.
expectations outside. And I really
Yeah.
think depression is the suppression of feelings. Like you have to pay attention to how you're feeling. And I notice I get into a depression or depressive symptoms. I don't want to say depression, but like I get depressive symptoms when I am frustrated and I'm
Hmm.
not paying attention, and I'm just like, okay, let's have toxic positivity. Like just think it, because
Hmm.
you have so many people on here telling you just think positively and you're
Yeah.
going to attract that. You have to be positive. Okay. But if it's not coming from a genuine place,
Right.
you're not fooling anybody.
Right.
So there is value in taking stock of what you're feeling.
Right.
And for me to bring it back to the comedy, when I am humorless and when I don't find things
Hmm.
funny, I know something's going on, because like that is like my life,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was seeing, I was like, I was not laughing at things. I was not finding things funny. There was no lightness to things. And I was
Yes.
just really frustrated. So this suppression of my emotions and not allowing myself to feel, to cry, to have an outlet, to scream, like
Hmm.
whatever it was really the block on the spiritual journey of
Yes.
this up leveling. Is like you need to be paying attention to yourself and what is going on so that you can be ready for what comes next, because there's going to be so many things, and you need to be able to check in with yourself and see like, what are you feeling, what are your boundaries based on those
Right.
feelings, right? So that
Right.
you can still do this.
Right. It is, and I don't know what this is, so we're gonna hold this up, right?
Yeah.
It is a suppression of self. That is what depression is. And that was, I had posted something about that as well, because that's what I was feeling. It was like not only just depression, suppression of your true self is what leads you to feel that way. So it's creation, yes, but like it is that suppression of who you truly are that leads to you feeling those depressive symptoms. And so yes, it's the humor, it is the things that bring you joy. And that's what I was feeling last week too, was like frustration, anger, and also a lack of joy. and a
Yeah.
lack of connection to anything that was bringing me joy,
Right.
with the exception of my daughter, right?
Right.
Like, and being like, what brings me any levity, any joy? And then again, that comes back to my why. Because the
Mm-hmm.
whole point of all of this is to work, to bring in abundance, doing not only what helps other people, but also what brings me joy, to help others, but also to fulfill my mission and my purpose in this, like in this world, in this incarnation,
Right.
to do what I am here to do. And that's what this is all about. Like, it's to do what I'm here to do and to figure out what that is. And,
Right.
and to help as many people as possible.
But I think you just brought something up is I think people's frustration is they don't know their why, right?
Mhm.
And they don't
Yeah.
know who their true self is. So I think there's this frustration of is and why there is so much depression is like I don't know who I really am on the soul level. I don't know what I'm here to do. There's not a roadmap and like this pamphlet that gets handed out to people of like here you go on your spiritual journey, first stop here. That would be amazing. None of us would have these like
I would love a
problems, but
pamphlet.
I would love a pamphlet, include the obstacles, let me know what I'm coming up
It
against.
changes.
Right,
It
exactly.
changes. And
Based on you, like,
right.
yeah.
And it changes throughout the seasonality of your life as well. And I also think people need to be okay with that. Like, your mission and your
Flexibility.
purpose, yes. Yes, raise that leg over your head, baby. Like, do it. Like, it changes. So like, and I'm also aware of that. Like, I think my purpose was
Mhm.
different 5 years ago, which is also why the check-in had to happen, because I was like, okay, like, I'm aware that like my purpose might be different now. And like, I'm okay with that. And some people's mission is and purpose is just to figure out what it is and who they are.
Right. And like I think some people's purpose is to realize I'm on a vacation life. Like I don't really want to
Yes,
do
which I
anything.
sent you the Dolores
Right.
Cannon thing. Is like, some people like have had traumatic like past lives and they're just here to hang out. And
Right.
we should just and we are here to allow them to do that and to just let everyone
Right.
do what they need to do.
And it doesn't mean they don't grow and learn.
Mhm.
It's just they're not on this like deep soul mission, and that's
Mhm.
fine, you know. And don't beat yourself up over that either. If you find that person, you're probably not listening to this podcast anyway, so it's fine.
No,
But
those
you
people
know,
don't go on deep
no,
explorations. You are not
exactly.
going to find out that you are one of those people because those people don't question. They don't
Right.
care.
But you might be married or dating one of those people or a sibling of one of those people. And just for your own frustration is like, don't try and force it. Let them. And I I don't love Mel Robbins for some
I
reason,
was
but I
just gonna
do
say,
love
are
let them.
you gonna go there? Like, please don't. I can't.
Yeah. I do love the phrase though, and I love the idea behind it. Is like just let them. And I think that helps us for us is like just let people think. Like I got bothered by a comment, my first comment on YouTube, and it was not bad, but I'm just like someone, I guess it's so funny because I probably have done this to other people when I felt insecure and knew I like wanted to like come on and like talk about things and I'd comment something like I knew better than them. And I don't think I even said like the opposite of failure is success, but someone was like, it's not the opposite of failure is not success, it's the journey in life. And it wasn't even bad, but it like bothered me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, why don't you go make your own like video then,
Right. Well,
And
exactly.
right. But I was just like, oh, this was a past version of you. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, it helped me to be like, you're where you want to be now. When you were writing those kind of comments on other people's things, it's like, oh, you are really just
Right.
having this manifestation. So if you're making those comments, don't judge yourself, even though like someone might judge you back
Right.
because
Right.
it's kicking up something in themselves. But it's like, what is that trying to tell you? Right? All these little things are trying to tell you something about yourself. But I wasn't in a place back then to be like, Beth, you need to be on camera sharing your thoughts with people.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And I'm very much like a fan of, and like this like comes up repeatedly, like just through my life of like don't take advice from someone who hasn't been like doing what you're doing. Like take advice from someone on what you're doing from someone who hasn't done what you're doing. And like I get a lot of that, like, you know, on entrepreneurship from someone who hasn't done entrepreneurship. It's like, okay. I actually had the funniest thing. Wait, I have to share this because this was so hilarious. And it was just such a like ego check moment for me. And just the way I handled it is just so different than like I would have. But we were over my neighbor's house yesterday and they were clearing out their backyard, and we were like, the kids were playing and the guy was telling us how they're clearing it out and they have all these like weeds and native plants growing. And so like I am like, oh my goodness, like, do you realize you have knotweed, you have Japanese knotweed back here, and like you have like feverfew and like all this stuff. And the guy's like, we've cleared it out 3 times. And I'm like, well, are you going to throw it away? And like, what are you going to do? And he's like, yeah, we're just going to get rid of it. And I'm like, well, these are medicinal herbs. And I'm going on and on. And the guy's like, I mean, if you want to come back here and like harvest it, like, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, like I know what, you know, I make stuff with these, and I'm telling him like, you know, I'm an herbalist and I do all this stuff. And so he's like, well, you know, you come back and he's like, you know, that's a nice little hobby to have. And I was like, it's just my life's work and career, but okay. And like, we like left and I was like to Rob, I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's a nice little hobby to have. And I was like, you know, I felt like it was like, and I was like, okay, I'm like, it's a nice little hobby, just like my whole life. And he's like, don't even. I'm like, it's hilarious. I'm like, it is fine. I'm like, he has no idea. You know, I was like, he's literally going to throw away all of it. So I'll be back there in the.
He's on a vacation life.
He's on a vacation life. Throwing the herbs away. But like, you know, that's the kind of thing, like there are people who like that would like upend, but I don't care because I'm so confident in what I do that I'm just like, whatever. But I'll be in my yard with my resveratrol. You guys, Japanese knotweed is resveratrol. If anybody that's resveratrol, you guys,
stop it.
I have resveratrol growing natively in my yard. Do you know?
Okay. I need you to make me a custom tincture, please.
Yeah. Okay. So anyone that understands, anyone that comes from the chronic illness world understands what that is. Okay. And feverfew is for migraines. Anyway, guys, for House of Amria coming soon, there's going to be some new stuff, but like, it's just, anyway, I'm not going to go in his yard, but I have stuff in my yard.
I have to plug House of Amria now because I am like literally covered in it and they are so beautiful. I like kind of went nuts, like buying your jewelry like a few weeks ago, but Amanda was so kind and made this amazing mala a while ago. I can't like get it too close.
Oh yeah, with this, I forgot what was on it. Oh yeah, the Kundalini.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what's on here, but I'm gonna post these because I like feel like I need to plug them. But I don't know why I was just like called to, but I have to tell you, I was like not feeling good this morning. I put these on and I feel kind of like energized. They do have like codes of them. They are so beautiful. My wife looked at them and she loves like necklaces and jewelry and she buys all like the charms. She's like, wait, Beth, these are really like nice and like well made. She's like, these are like high end. And like, she was like, I really, really like these. And I like wore them last night. I'm not kidding. Okay, I think there was actually magic in the Wheel of Fortune one. Okay, so I went to a concert last night, and this is so weird and random, but I walked in and I was like, I feel like people are looking at me. And I did take like a little bit of a gummy, so I was like, am I high or like, is this real? But like we walked in and the people behind me go, doesn't she look like? And I was like, oh yeah. And I do have that face. I look like a lot of people. I'm not kidding. Intermission comes. My wife and her mother, we went with my in-laws, went to the bathroom and to get like stuff at the concession. And I'm talking to my father-in-law and someone taps me on the shoulder and goes, oh, look over there. And I was like, okay. And I look over and the woman's like, oh, it's not her. Like, swear
to God.
And she's like, sorry. And then like 2 other people were like, sorry. He's like, I guess they thought you were someone else. And my father-in-law's like, I guess you look like a lot of people.
Oh my God. Wait.
It was so weird. Then I'm sitting and we were kind of close, but the lights were coming on us and I was so up close. I locked eyes with the drummer. It was so weird.
Who did you go see? You guys like go to concerts. I feel like you guys are really cool.
They're not like, it's like this little, I mean, they're really good. They're called Tusk. They're a Fleetwood Mac cover band. They're incredible. If they
that's
are
cool.
by you, go. It was one of the best concerts I've been to. I mean,
love Fleetwood Mac.
I've seen them. They are unbelievable in real life. Like they're the real
that's like
band,
really cool.
They definitely play by you, but it was just like, I'm like, I feel like it was the necklace.
No, so the Wheel of Luck in Life, like that one is really, really cool. Like that, like is so pretty. And then Beth just got, a charm that I just got, and then I sent it to her, and I was like, she's going to want this. It is like a combination of like the Hebrew star meets Zodiac meets like the 7 Olympic spirits, which like we're like very into with like the Bethor thing. So cool. Like you got like a good like combo. I'm very into, I don't know, I'm very into like my House of Amria stuff right now. Like I was working on stuff last night and I got a whole new like bunch of stuff. Yeah, if anybody wants custom stuff,
go get it because it's beautiful. It's clearly like magic and magnetic, but you just brought up something that was kind of in the conversation we were having, and you told me you were going to tell me something. So I've been waiting for 2 days.
Okay. So this is so back to the purpose stuff. So this is all relevant. So I have been channeling I've been working on a book now this has been like kind of coming on and off, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. We'll talk about that at a different time, but been working on channeling every night now by myself for like a half hour. So one of the nights I just was like, I'm just gonna talk to Joshun like by myself, and I'm just like, say what's up to Joshi alone. I wanted to talk about my purpose and just kind of again recenter. So anyway, I hop on, I'm recording it in Riverside. And the weird thing about this, by the way, is that I've been doing it he wants me to dictate. I'm doing it for the writing. This one didn't record in the writing, which was really bizarre. All the other ones have.
So weird. It always transcribes.
And the weird thing about this is when I tell all of you guys that then I had a client, this was Thursday night, I had a client Friday who asked me like exactly what came up. So I'm going to tell all you guys. This is just like really crazy. So I was thinking what I was thinking he was going to say was completely different than what he was going to say. So I go into this and so the way that I channel with Joshun is I open up a channel, right? That's like basically like it's like a brain wavelength that's connected. So I can telepathically connect with him. So he has said out loud before on the last podcast with Beth that I don't need to speak to him out loud or like ask people. But like for me, it feels more legitimate for me to kind of like exit in that way. It just feels like it's like more real. So when I hopped on, he was like, okay, I like kind of let go. I exited and he was like, you had a question? And I'm like, yes. He was like, all right, let's just jump into it. So anyway, he goes into this whole thing. And so he was like, what you were thinking about was kind of close, but like not really like on par. So originally I had thought that my purpose here at this time was I'm like already like shaking like as I'm telling you this because it makes my like heart race. All right. So I had thought that my purpose here at this time was to help infinite beings be in physical bodies. Okay. So he was like, okay, kind of, but like there's more. And I was like, okay. So he starts going into this whole thing about how, and to help activate the celestial DNA, right? Which we had spoken about, and to help change the creation story. There was like, to help teach more about the creation story. Okay. More about that. Okay. But he starts talking about how like when he was telling us about how I was a planet, he was saying that not only had I been here since the creation of humans, but that I had been here since the creation of the earth. And so he was saying that I had been here since the creation of the earth. And so that part of my mission here and my role is not only to raise the vibration of humans and activate humans or beings that are inside of these physical bodies, but also to raise the frequency of the planet to activate the keepers of the earth codes to help to activate this like grid that is inside of the earth. So basically he was saying you are a messenger of the celestial of so like that the celestial codes, but to activate these like infinite beings that are holding these codes here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So he was saying like about the star seeds, and what we were kind of like what was has kind of been on my head about star seeds is like he was like, okay, yes, there's some that come from the celestial realms, but there are those here now who are waiting to be activated that are here to help the
Mm-hmm.
earth. And they're holding those codes. And so there are some that come from the celestial realms, but there are also some that are the keepers of like these codes of the earth. And so he's like, you're activating a remembrance within them. So you're activating the celestial DNA, but you're also activating like within them this like remembrance of their like role as these like keepers of the codes, right? So he was saying you're a bridge, you're a messenger. So like you're acting as this like messenger of like between the stars and the earth, like this messenger.
You're in the in between.
You're in the in between. He was kept saying to me, you're a bridge. You're a bridge between the two. And so he was saying you're like delivering these codes, you're activating these codes, these infinite beings, you're like helping them remember who they are so that they can like go do this like work and so like whatever. So then he tells me, this is like where things get wild, but I want to tell you. So then he tells me that he calls me Niana. I always thought that it was spelt Nianna, but then I had seen on one of the recordings it's spelled Neana or Neanna, and that it means messenger.
Oh my God.
And then he tells me that that's why he calls me that, because it means messenger, and that my mission here essentially is that like I am a messenger of this like information, and that like I am delivering the codes. And then he said to me, every word that you speak, every vibration, every frequency, every piece of jewelry, he was saying that like the gemstones, the jewelry, the food, he was saying like every single thing you do delivers codes that like activate these like these different infinite beings that are here in human bodies to help them remember who they are. I'm like I'm like vibrating as I'm like saying that. Like I'm like,
yeah, and I think it's so interesting. Like when I love those moments where you're just like, oh my God, that's so wild, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I was like, okay. I mean, it was so fascinating because it was like it was so interesting because I mean, of course I like wish that it recorded because it was so like, I'm kind of in and out as he's like saying these things, and I'm trying to like find the thing, but he validated for me what I was saying about the star seeds and stuff. So then I have a client on Friday who comes to me and says to me, I really want to connect with my ability to connect with the earth and speak to the earth. And then I do an activation for her, channeling codes from Gaia so that she can connect with like the trees and all this stuff. And I was like, that's so crazy. Because if I hadn't understood that last night, that there are these people that are connected with the earth,
Right.
the earth frequency. So then anyway, okay, so everyone, I know this is like a long like walk, but I'm going to bring Beth into this now. So then I go on to my favorite friend ChatGPT and I say to ChatGPT, okay, so if I was, let's say, somebody who a being that was here from the beginning of creation, what would I be? And it gives me a list and it says like, I don't know, some kind of reptilian thing. I don't know. There were like different things. And I was like, it's not resonating. And then it says Elohim. And I was like, and Elohim like struck me like lightning. And then it was like the 7 Elohim. And then it was like Ray 1, Ray 2. And I was like, this is it. And then Ray 3 was like basically would be Venus. And it was like those were the different frequencies that would have been here at the creation. That would be the equivalent, or like, yeah, the equivalent of a planet that would be here as a frequency of, that would be here at the creation of Earth. So like there are some frequencies and some people that are here with the mission to help raise the vibration of this planet. Like
But I think what was so cool is you sent it to me and I'm like, oh my God, this seems so much like the Bethor and that, like all those the Olympian spirits.
Yes.
And they're directly connected. She's like, which one would you pick? And I'm like, oh, I'm Ray 2. It is Bethor.
Yes.
Ray 3 is, I think it was like
so then I did it
or something.
Yes. Yeah. So then
and they're both Jupiter and Venus. And it was just like, and that is the cool part, is everything links together. Every little piece like links to everything we've put together so far. And it's just like, had we not started, I don't even know when it came through the creation stuff, because that
but there's more.
Oh, okay.
But so then so then the Olympic spirits were the rulers, the Elohim were the creators, and they're just also different belief systems, right? Like one is like Gnostic. Oh my God. And one is like Hebrew and like Kabbalah, which like has always come through for me, Kabbalah. And you obviously have deep Hebrew roots, and like all of this has come through so many times. Okay. So it gets better. So then I start going, okay, well, where has the Elohim been mentioned in ancient texts? The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yep. God, so crazy. I have to go to my grandma's apartment and
you really need to. You really need to. Because like I feel like your grandfather like would have known so much. Like, do you think like you could connect into like channeling him?
No, what's so interesting is like I don't really know about him. Like I know very little. I know like what he's done. Like I just feel like it was not a digital age, so like none of his stuff. I know there's a guy writing a book about him because he called me years ago. I was like, I'm actually writing a book about your grandfather.
Who?
And I don't know. My dad talked to him too, and then we like never heard from the guy again. Yes, and I know there's stuff he did, because not only was he was like an art historian, like he taught art history. He was an archaeologist. He was like rabbi, and I think he had a 4th PhD. Like this guy spoke like 100 languages.
Oh my God.
And
he's so
like
cool.
He had I'm so mad like he didn't like speak really, because he had Parkinson's, so he was like not verbal when I was pretty much
Which
born.
I feel like there's also a link with that and like telepathy. Like I also think there's something with that, by the way.
And I have this memory of him where I went to visit him in like the nursing home he was in, and he just smiled at me, and like I knew exactly what he was saying and feeling, and I was like this little kid, and I definitely have a connection to him, and I think it's almost like purposeful. I don't have a lot of information. And like my dad, everybody's like, he was the nicest, sweetest, funniest guy, such like a good person. He like welcomed people from the community all in, because it was in the Bronx, and so it was like anybody who didn't have a place to worship or had food, he's like, come in. Every Saturday, Jews have a service like for Shabbat services, and they have a kiddush, and there's food and drinks and stuff there. So he would like welcome people in, and he was a very serious guy though, because he was so deep into this, like finding out the mysteries of like the world. He was an archaeologist. He was kind of like an Indiana Jones, where he would go every summer and like go to these sites and do the research, and it's really cool,
Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like this is maybe who Joshua meant when so Beth is going to do a private sesh with Joshua. That's going to not be for public view, as it should not be, because it's for her personal usage. But you should ask about your grandfather, and then we'll share what she feels comfortable with sharing.
Well, I'm going to put you under hypnosis. So I figured out how to do that. So we're going to do it that way.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm
Yeah.
really
So
excited
it'll
about
be
that.
really cool.
Yeah.
And then we can do one. Like we need to do a dry run before we like put that out in the public. Just to
Yeah.
see how you feel. Like I don't want you feeling
Yeah.
uncomfortable. But like and really like what I learned is like all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's like you have to want to do it. You're really like kind of in charge of it. Like you're doing it to yourself. Someone's just guiding you, you know?
Yeah. And I've been noticing too, like when I've been doing it, when I've been doing the channeling by myself with like this now, like how I was doing that, like it feels very interesting. Like I've been noticing like my breathing and my heart rate and everything change when I'm in channel. Like,
It slows, right?
no, it actually, I feel very high. Like I
Really?
actually feel, yeah, I actually feel like my nervous system keys up. I
Mm.
actually feel like my breath, my rate of breath and everything change. Like I actually feel like it's like this. Like I feel like I can't breathe. And I don't know if it's because I feel like it's like I don't have to breathe as much, so I feel like I'm not breathing. I don't know what it
Hmm.
is. I was trying to like kind of do some research on it and I think I need to learn more.
Because shallow breath puts you into parasympathetic.
Mhm.
So it's going to key up anxiety and your vagus nerve.
Yeah.
Um, and it does put you, that's why that breath like that they use in like Kundalini or people who do
Yeah.
breath work,
Yeah.
it
The
it does
holotropic.
something to the holotropic. Yes, it does something to the oxygen in your brain so you
Yeah.
can unlock. But I'm wondering if there's a way because there's a reason that it comes through, you know, in a hypnosis, like you unlock something differently. So I'm wondering if it'll feel safer, right? To,
I'm wondering too. Like it's so bizarre. Like I noticed it just like recently. Like I and it's
yeah,
like and then I looked it up. Like I was researching and they were saying like that they have measured people's like heart rate and like it does go up.
speed
Like
up.
it does speed up and I'm just noticing it and like I feel like I go up. Like I feel super high and I'm like noticing that like when I'm in channel like I feel very high and like I've have to tell myself that it's safe. And when I'm by myself, it feels different. Like if I'm with you, I feel like it's more safe. When I'm
Huh.
alone, it's like, you're kind of like,
Right.
okay, like it's, you're kind of, it's a little bit like tricky,
Mm,
right? So like, I'm more cognizant of it. I don't know. It's
yeah.
kind of interesting. But now I'm doing it. Like, and Joshun has told me because different beings because I've channeled like one of the times I was channeling a different being came through with a higher frequency and my heart would change. And it's someone who had come through before this
Mm,
being Niahan and she's faster and so it
yeah.
beats faster. Um
Oh, so maybe it's just like the vibration
mhm.
and I just keep seeing staccato. You
Yes.
know, there's
Yes, like
something
the
like there's something with and we were talking about harmony, right? And
mhm.
music. So
Yes, the
maybe it's just like also the beat of
yes.
and the frequency.
Yes, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering too, like when I channel now in this way, I put my headphones on and I listen to vibration. So I'm wondering if maybe that'll change too. I listen to it so I don't hear myself, so that I am
Mhm.
channeling and not listening.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So anyway, this is not we're probably just going on now with I don't know if everyone finds this interesting, you'll have to let us know. But yes, so like, there is a change in the physiology and the nervous system physiology like when you are in that state of channel. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up in a hypnotized state. And I love to be
Yeah.
under. So put me
It's
under.
really cool. Yeah. And I think also I could just do a recording for you and you could do that on your own. And I wonder if that'll change because, like, the message I was getting is like she needs to slow down. Like, and
Yeah.
I think because of that safety, that because there, some of the safety was broken with the seizure, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that's still there. And I think that's what's hyping up your nervous system. I don't necessarily think the like heartbeat is bad and the changing. I think that is going into remember I talked about like Morse code and like
Mhm.
I think there is something with the beats, like why are binaural beats like
Mhm.
and So I think it's kind of mimicking that, and it's like mimicking the heart of the earth, of the universe, right? So that's where the frequency
Hmm.
comes from. But I think for you to feel safe enough, you need to calm yourself down so that you're not going as high, so it doesn't feel as unsafe.
Hmm.
Like you'll be high, but your body's not going to go with you. So it's almost like your soul will go high, but the like the physical body here is not going to do that, so it feels a lot safer. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Because I
Love it.
saw you rising out, but your body's staying here, and I think your
Yeah.
body's going with you when you go up.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. What a
Yes.
journey.
Yeah.
Yes. So, listen, if anybody wants to work with us, we both have a lot of new and exciting things going on. We have
Mhm.
our soul activation and initiation,
Full surrender,
soul
and
surrender, and
we don't know what it's called, but it's our, like, you work with both of
you
us,
have
and
our
it's really cool.
mentorship that's
Yeah.
together. We have that. And then, yes, we both have a lot of new offers and exciting things going on. So, check them out and keep listening. We love having you guys here. And we hope this was super helpful. And we will see you next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.